Remember those times when your neighborhood friends were knocking on every door to ask if their friends wanted to come play outside? Whenever your friends were at the door, you ran out as fast as you could to have new adventures. The 1960s was all about having fun with each other, no phones or internet. Those were the best times. Back in the 60s, Saturday mornings were sacred, marked by the kind of excitement that could only be rivaled by a birthday or Christmas morning. Why, you ask? Well, it was the day when our trusty television sets transformed into portals of animated wonders. We were kids, still in our PJs, eyes wide open, glued to the screen, eagerly anticipating the adventures of their favorite cartoon characters. Tom and Jerry, the timeless duo engaged in cat and mouse shenanigans, would grace the screen, eliciting fits of laughter and suspense. Bugs Bunny, that wise-cracking rabbit, had us all in stitches with his antics. And let's not forget the Jetsons, a glimpse into a futuristic world that felt light years away from our own. There was an unwritten rule: no school, no chores, just uninterrupted cartoon bliss. The ritual was almost sacred, and friendships forged over shared Saturday morning cartoon preferences were as sturdy as the Flintstones' prehistoric car. Fast forward to today, and it's a different story. The Saturday morning cartoon tradition has become a relic of the past, as on-demand streaming services and 24/7 access to animated content have reshaped the way kids consume their favorite shows. No more setting alarms to catch the latest episode. It's all just a click away whenever they please. And then when it came to the weekdays, life was all about school. School life back then was different. It was so much different. One of the standout contrasts from that day is, of course, discipline. Now that isn't really a good thing. Back in the day, if you messed up at school, you had to be prepared for the possibility of a ruler, cane, or even a shoe meeting your hand or leg. Yup, those were the days of no-nonsense consequences. Stricter discipline often meant well-behaved classrooms. But if luck was on your side and you dodged a physical reprimand, get ready for the epic battle of 5,000-word essays or a note home to your folks. But it's not just about punishments. The whole starting school gig was an emotional roller coaster. No preschool or nurseries meant that your first day at 5 was likely the first time you said goodbye to your mom's protective embrace. Now, here's a mind bender. No PE kits. Yep, sports in your undies and vests, making it a fashion statement that might not fly in today's world. On the upside, school milk and fruit were on the menu for the little ones, a tradition that some schools still keep alive today. When you came home from school, it was time to go out to play with your friends. Endless days were spent on two wheels, pedaling down the neighborhood streets with the wind in our hair and not a care in the world. Back then, cycling was an art form. No safety helmets, no knee pads, just pure, unadulterated freedom. We'd embark on daring adventures, exploring every nook and cranny of the neighborhood, making memories that felt as boundless as the open road. The feeling of the warm sun on our faces and the thrill of speed as we raced down the streets created a sense of exhilaration that digital screens could never replicate. And let's not forget the beauty of getting dirty. There was a certain magic in the mud-splattered clothes and grass-stained knees, badges of honor from a day well spent. Nobody cared about pristine appearances. The messier, the better. It was a time when the only screen we stared at was the blue sky, and the only apps were the adventures waiting beyond our front doors. As the day unfolded, the streetlights served as our humble timekeepers, signaling the approaching evening. It was a universal rule, engraved in our youthful minds. When those lights flickered to life, it was time to wrap up the outdoor escapades and head home. A collective understanding that the real world was calling, with dinners to be had, tales of the day's exploits to be shared, and a promise that tomorrow would bring another round of untamed adventures. Oh, to feel the spirit of the 60s again, where cycling meant liberation, getting dirty was a mark of a day well lived, and the simplicity of streetlights guided our carefree days under the sun. But that was everyday life. When it came to your birthday, the parties were something to behold. Decorating for a birthday bash became a riot of color and patterns. Tie-dyed fabrics, psychedelic neon, and flower power graphics took center stage. Banners flaunting the British flag or adorned with pop art and yellow smiley faces set the lively tone. Guests were decked out with flower garlands, love beads, and funky pins. The ambience was further jazzed up with colored light bulbs, paper lanterns, and the mesmerizing glow of lava lamps. When it came to birthday gifts, kids in the 60s were thrilled with classics like shiny red bicycles, board games, or a trusty baseball glove. Trendy new additions to the wish list included skateboards from California's surfing scene and slot cars. Dolls and action figures like Barbie, G.I. Joe, and those quirky fuzzy-haired troll dolls were all the rage. Music was the heartbeat of a 60s birthday party. While Elvis and Frankie Avalon still held sway, the youth eagerly embraced the fresh sounds emanating from England, the beach culture, black rhythm and blues, and folk music. Gladys Knight and the Pips, Jimi Hendrix, the Beach Boys, Peter, Paul, and Mary, and the birth of groups like the Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane colored the party playlists. The culinary scene reflected a growing interest in diverse cuisines and serving styles. Mexican, Japanese, or French dishes took the spotlight, served either as hors d'oeuvres for an intimate gathering or as a buffet for larger crowds. The average 60s birthday feast featured tomatoes stuffed with chicken livers, potato cheese charlotte, and avocado and grapefruit salad, all washed down with wine and rounded off with cake and ice cream. And let's not forget, backyard barbecues were the epitome of cool in the 60s. And whilst now we're too caught up with life to travel, road trips were the prime family outing back in the 1960s. A big, odd station wagon, usually wood-paneled and as long as a stretch of highway would be our ride. We'd pack that beast to the brim with everything but the kitchen sink. Suitcases, coolers, snacks, and maybe even a pet or two if they were lucky. There was a sense of excitement in the air as we hit the road, leaving the everyday routine behind. Now, the station wagon, that was our magic carpet. No fancy gadgets or GPS, just a good old-fashioned map, and maybe a bit of arguing about directions. The windows were our widescreen, and the breeze blowing through, our playlist. Seatbelts? Nah, not really a thing back then. We'd jostle for the prime spots. The coveted window seat, or the middle hump for the lucky one. Kids would be sprawled out in the back, creating a nest of blankets and pillows, while the grown-ups took charge of the front seats. Snacks were a crucial part of the journey. Mom would pack sandwiches, chips, and maybe some homemade cookies if we were lucky. And let's not forget the cooler. A treasure trove of sodas, juice boxes, and maybe a surprise treat or two. As we rolled along the highways, there was no rush. No need to check our phones or worry about deadlines. It was all about the journey, the roadside attractions, and the occasional pit stop at a quirky diner or a gas station with those vintage restrooms. The station wagon became our cozy cocoon, a place where family bonds grew stronger with every mile. We'd play travel games, belt out tunes, and share stories that would become a part of our road trip folklore. Sure, there were squabbles, siblings fighting over space, or who gets to control the radio. But those were the moments that added flavor to the trip, creating memories we'd chuckle about in the years to come. And when we finally reached our destination, whether it was a beach, a national park, or grandma's house, there was a collective sigh of satisfaction. The station wagon, our noble steed, had brought us there in one piece, ready for a vacation filled with simple joys and the warmth of family. So there you have it, folks. Quite a journey back to the 1960s, where kids had a blast doing things that might seem alien to today's generation. If you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to hit the like button, share your own memories in the comments, and subscribe for more blasts from the past. And hey, if you're feeling like it, check out our other videos for more of the same content. Until next time, keep those memories alive.